carry that, then the entire globe knows that your levels are high, that your production, your whatever products that you produce or services that you provide are as far as possible environmentally friendly, or if you have a quality system, yours is a quality product. So that's a guarantee, and that's a preference. For the consumer, it's you can easily, it's a preferred selection. For the client, it's a preferred selection. So the advantage in having international standard certification is to show that you have a system in place, and that is to international standards. You can have a system, but to get it certified is good, because that gives you the marketing edge and also the build up of your image.
So when you introduced that to Kandalam, what exactly did you go through? Is it about setting targets and indicators and objectives and seeing whether actually these targets are reached within that benchmark set by the international standards?
Yes. Now we know the standard. The standard is a publication which is also renewed every 8 years. But now you align yourself, align your management system with the international standard. Now I told you, basically if I run through very quickly, it's a case of recognizing identifying your activities, identifying your impacts and aspects, having a register, selecting some significant aspect which you can handle, and then you have targets, quantitative targets, objectives, qualitative objectives and quantitative targets. And the quantitative targets must be smart. It must be specific, it must be measurable, it must be achievable, it must be relevant, and it must be time based. Then you know you are goal oriented, you are really target oriented. For what? To mitigate your impacts. How do you know? You have aspects registered. So what are you going to address? A few of those, something possible. Then at the end of the year, of course, you have things like you use the Deming cycle. Then that's another very important tool that you use, the 5 W's and 1 H.
What is that?
5 W's is why. Why do you do anything? Then what do you do? Then where do you do it? When do you do it? And who does it? Who does what is very important. There is a famous saying, the Andi Haddinayak and the Hellier. Now otherwise it will be that nobody knows what they are doing, right? And then H is how. If you answer all those questions, if you have answers for all those questions, then you align yourself to go according to the plan, do, check, act, PDCA cycle, you hit the target. Then what happens is, to achieve the target, now like what I told you, if you have to reduce the light, or say reduce the amount of water or whatever, you have a program, and at that program you have a brainstorming session, and everybody across the board, all functions and all levels get involved in the committee, and you have a brainstorming session. There you come out with solutions, pick out the best solutions. No idea is foolish when you have a brainstorming session. Pick out the solutions, and then you have the programs, and then of course you have monitoring systems, non-conformances, corrective and preventive actions, internal audits with trained environmental auditors.
You are also an environment auditor.
Yeah. And then also finally you go for certification. Finally you go for the third party certificate, third party audit.
That is the international standards.
Exactly.
So this is not something only that the corporate should be do in terms of like CSR or corporate social responsibility. This is something that extend to the individual and the government and NGOs and all that.
Oh yes. We must go beyond corporate social responsibility. We must have social responsibility. Whether you are in the state sector or in the corporates or wherever you are, you must be socially responsive. Otherwise you can't. We are part of society. We get a lot from society, and we owe something to society. And to look after the environment and the sustainability of the economics and the society and the environment is definitely a responsibility for all of us. And we should now, and they have introduced, the government has introduced the productivity, National Productivity Awards, National Cleaner Production Awards, that is to reduce waste. There are of course various techniques used. And
these are introduced by the government.
National Cleaner Production Awards are from the National Cleaner Production Center under the Ministry of Industries, and then the productivity awards also come under industries, and the environmental people also get involved in that, and they are now classified. They have for schools, they have for government institutions, local government institutions, private sector, service sector, large, small, medium, manufacturing sector, large scale. So there are a lot of incentives, because recognition is something had been very badly missing in Sri Lanka. So now it's being introduced. So at least there are, I told you, good practices, and people are being recognized.
So I think that is like a starting point
Oh,
to
yes,
see the
yes,
good
yes.
practices and actually talk about it. So Mr. De Silva, actually that was a lot of information, and I guess the way you summed it up, like identifying the aspects and then looking at the impacts and seeing whether what action can be done, and then also looking at the qualitative objectives and then converting into to a quantitative indicators, and then also coming up with an action plan. That is something you and I and everybody can do, because as he said, it's not only corporate social responsibility, is a responsibility towards a society that gave you so much. So also on this context, we spoke about the 3 R's, we spoke about how he extended it to the 7 R's, we talked about the Deming cycle, and we also talked about the bottom line viability model and environmental sustainability and development as well. So I guess, Mr. De Silva, that was a lot of information, and we value it so much because it was actually brought down to a very simple level where each and everybody can think of something and do something just the next time we see act, because we realize that we are making an impact to the environment, and we are part and parcel of the environment and not the other way around.
Yes, yes.
So thank you so much for joining us today at the round table. It became a square table because of elections night. So thank you for watching us tonight. Do join us tomorrow at the same time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.